Hi, what do we have here? Let's have a closer look. See if there's any guesses what it could be. The light on there. And look inside, hoping they show up. Showing the filament, all intact. The stem might be a clue, I don't know. It's black. Now I've noticed this before on this particular item. There's the base. We've got a screw-in base. Now let me quickly say that when I was a kid, I was one of these sort of inquisitive kids that loved to go around old surplus shops. I remember well going up to the Tottenham Court Road and visiting some interesting places. Unfortunately, they've all gone. Proop's was one of my favourite shops, and that's gone. Henry's Radio, they've all gone. Anyhow, I love walking around shops, seeing things. They didn't have boot sales in those days. You might have got the odd jumble sale, but things were slightly different. In a way, they were better, because I remember getting things in those days which you just can't get now. Anyhow, I picked up a lamp. Have I given it away? No, I haven't. This is not the lamp. It's identical to the one I picked up. And I picked it up and looked at the filament, which I'm doing now. And it was intact. I said to myself, blimey, I've got something rare here. Remember, this is going back to when I was probably pre-teens, a long time ago. And I took this lamp home and I thought, I'm going to try this out. Well, in those days, I didn't know what a variac was. I just assumed that you would screw it in and it would work. I did screw it in, and when I turned the juice on, there wasn't a great big bang. All I could see in the glass insides was the filament just perceptibly glowing red, and the heat that it was giving off was something out of this world. So I scratched my head and thought, what the hell is it? It's not what I had anticipated, a squirrel cage bulb. I always wanted a squirrel cage bulb. Now they're reproducing them by the thousand. But anyhow, getting back to what this is, let's have a look at the front of it. Put you all out of suspense. Some of you would probably know what it is. If you go to a radio exhibition or anything like that, you might get an idea. Anyhow, let's look at what it's got on the front. I think the name's coming up there. It's a Barretter, made by Osram, made in England. It's the English Osram as opposed to the German Osram. It's a Barretter, and it happens to be, probably because at that time that was a standard shape to encapsulate it in, and it consisted of a resistance wire, not an element which glows incandescent, but a resistant wire. And the idea of these was to control the amount of current going through a circuit. And further investigation also, once again, when I was a kid, looking into some old radios which were fairly easily come across in those days. Mainly the wooden ones, and particularly sets made by GEC, which were the trademark owners of Osram in this country. And lo and behold, I found that when I opened the back up, looked inside, there was one of these screwed in. And it appears that they were used to control the amount of current or amperage in the heater chain of valves. Not everyone used them, but these were fairly common in those days. That was probably 1930s, 40s. I've yet to see a set since that's got one of these in. It just shows you that you don't see them these days. Well, they would have had a Barretter, and if you unscrewed them, because it's on a normal screw base, excuse the piece of wire on there, that's just to hang the lamps up in the actual collection. I do incorporate it with the lamps and some valves. And I think the blackening of the stem was probably caused by it getting hot. I don't know. But there we are, a Barretter. So, in a way, I was highly delighted I got a hold of a Barretter as a kid, and very disappointed it wasn't a squirrel cage lamp. But that's another story. Anyhow, I thought I'd put this in here. As I say, they do reproduce this item. I've seen them at the radio exhibitions, the communications fair, which is held up north. Well, up north, it's the Midlands. And I thought, yes, I'd put that in. Mention also can be made of other Barrettas. Philips made one which was in like a tubular envelope. I've got an example upstairs, and also it was nothing new to me, because when I joined the GPO and was employed in a telephone exchange, Barrettas were a common item. Not this particular one, but lamps or tubes were wired in to certain pieces of equipment. Remember C-First selectors had them in, and they were wired in a double filament, and if they broke, or the filament broke, it produced a lot of trouble and you had to change them quite quickly. And the idea of the Barretter in telephone equipment was to once again compensate the current in the circuit and allow even transmission, or to make it, I'm having a job to explain what I mean here, but it was to level out the kinds of current that were in that circuit. And it was also in cooperation with a transmission bridge, which I'm not going to get into this stage. I know there was a Stones transmission bridge and a Hayes transmission bridge. But there we are. That's what Barrettas were used for. Also used in other things. And the gas inside was hydrogen, which seems quite amazing. Why doesn't it explode as soon as the bulb lights up? But it doesn't. So it was hydrogen gas, and in some cases the filament was of a negative coefficient, which is helped in the operation of the actual lamp, and in some cases a carbon lamp was used as a Barretter, and that was also used by the GPO, because carbon did show a negative coefficient, which meant as it got hotter the resistance became less. Normally it's the other way around. If an item got hotter, the resistance increased. Anyhow, once again, thanks for watching. Any comments please make. Anything I've said that was wrong, which is quite likely. You never know, I might make the deliberate mistake. But anyhow, thanks again for watching. That was the Osram Barretter of, I'd imagine, the 1930s or thereabouts, might even be before then. But thanks for watching. Thank you.